You're watching Mirror 7 News. Stay informed, stay ahead for more news.
Netflix has officially set November 6th as the release date for Death by Lightning, a gripping 4-part limited series that revisits the remarkable and ultimately tragic story of America's 20th president, James Garfield. Starring Michael Shannon as Garfield and Matthew Macfadyen as his assassin, Charles Guiteau, the series promises to deliver a stranger-than-fiction drama rooted in real history. At the heart of this series is James Garfield, a man who never actively pursued the presidency, but found himself thrust into it in 1881. A preacher, lawyer, and longtime congressman from Ohio, Garfield had served 9 terms in the House and was briefly elected to the Senate. However, his presidential nomination came only after a deadlock in the Republican Party convention, when factions split over whether Ulysses S. Grant, John Sherman, or James G. Blaine should lead the ticket. Garfield's name was put forward almost unexpectedly, and the delegates rallied around him. He entered the presidency reluctantly, and tragically, his time in office was cut short. He served only 6 months before he was fatally wounded. The story takes its darkest turn with Charles Guiteau, portrayed by Macfadyen. Guiteau was a troubled lawyer who considered himself instrumental in Garfield's election victory. Convinced that his support entitled him to a diplomatic appointment, Guiteau grew increasingly bitter when his demands were ignored. In his warped mind, assassination became the answer. On July 2, 1881, Garfield was shot, setting into motion one of the most shocking political crimes of the 19th century. What makes Death by Lightning especially intriguing is the creative team behind it. The series was created and written by Mike Makowski, known for Bad Education, and directed by Matt Ross, who helmed Captain Fantastic. Adding even more weight, Game of Thrones. Veterans David Benioff and D.B. Weiss are executive producers, working through their Netflix deal. The cast is another highlight. Alongside Shannon and Macfadyen, Nick Offerman takes on the role of Chester Arthur, Garfield's vice president, who would succeed him after the assassination. Bradley Whitford plays James Blaine, Garfield's Secretary of State, while Betty Gilpin appears as Garfield's devoted wife, Lucretia. Shea Wiggum portrays Roscoe Conkling, a political rival, and the series is rounded out by a strong ensemble including Alastair Petrie, Barry Shabaka Henley, Kyle Soller, Paula Malcolmson, Sean Parks, Tuppence Middleton, and Vondi Curtis Hall as Frederick Douglass. The show promises not only political intrigue, but also a deeply personal portrayal of Garfield as a man caught between duty, ambition, and fate. His short presidency and violent death marked one of the great what-ifs in American history. Now, through this dramatization, audiences will see both the grandeur and the tragedy of a life that ended far too soon. On November 6th, history will be brought vividly to the screen. Death by Lightning is not just a political drama. It is a human story of obsession, power, and loss that still resonates more than a century later. Stay subscribed for more videos.